Hello. I haven't got a smart TV, so I'm just exploring. I'm going to get one, but it's just one of the things I haven't got round to doing because I'm still doing it at my apartment. Let's go in here. Shh, that musician is loud. I love playing music. I've been doing more vlogs when I'm over here because I'm actually stopped work for a week. I did see a client this morning in London before she goes off, and it was kind of not an emergency session, but she doesn't want to go. It'll be because she's going off to another country for a holiday, so we won't be able to do a session again, I think, till about the 10th of January, and that's quite a long break for her. So she has sort of sessions every couple of weeks. So I said I would do it Boxing Day because effectively that would be December the 27th for me. And you can see all the snow has gone outside. It arrived on the 23rd, all by magic. Was here for Christmas Day, Swedish Christmas Day, which is the 24th. And it had all gone on our Christmas Day, our British Christmas Day, the 25th. And I literally had a bog standard, normal kind of Boxing Day on December the 25th. Everything weird, different cultures. So I've just been doing a few things, and one thing was, hey, there's nothing on TV, and I'm like, hey, I could be on TV, so I played my music. I'm going to do something about why I play music and why I write music and why I still do that even though hardly anybody notices. Because the main reason is because I love doing it. I really love writing, songwriting. I'm not the world's greatest singer. I'm not the world's greatest guitarist. I'm not the world's greatest songwriter, but somehow I think it all comes together, and it's something that the package is better than the sum of its parts. And you never know if someone comes along and says, hey, that's one song. I mean, I've written about 150 songs. Probably since I was 17. Well, not probably, since I have. Definitely. It's probably 150. I started to make a note the other day of like, hey, let's write these down. And I remember having therapy years ago, like when I was in my early 20s, and I'd learned to play when I was 17, and I'd come out of a sign band actually when in 97 I was in a sign band. Not worth the record contract wasn't worth the paper it was written on, but it was kind of an egoic thing to sort of be in a sign band, and there was a chance of getting somewhere by having a record company interested in you. But it was really it was the end of the Britpop era. I was 10 years younger than my bandmates. They were in their early 30s. I was in my early 20s. Joined as a guitarist, but they liked a couple of my songs, and we played a couple of my songs. You around. I like this one. It's distracted me. So I think it's just important to do what you love. And I remember having therapy and the therapist saying, yeah, it's good for your expression, and it always has been. It's an antidote to sort of the stuff that goes on around in life. And I think that's partly because it gets to me and gets everybody else into their hearts. You're looking for practices to get out of your ego. So for different enneatypes, that's about getting into the heart. Like enneatype 3s, 7s and 8s benefit from opening their hearts. I'm a 6, so it's pretty easy for me to get into my heart, I find. But I have to do work to still my mind and my 5 wing to ground into my body. But everybody's different, and that's why the most important 3 parts or aspects of creating more of a spiritual dimension to your life is to be able to ground into the body, be able to still your mind, and be able to open the heart. If the whole world did that, the planet Earth, and they were significantly more in a state of being rather than egoic wanting all of the time, you'd have more heaven on earth. You'd have more a being on earth. There would be less ego and thus less fear. If you think how much money goes in military throughout the entire world, how much money goes, I mean, what do they say? Something like the 99% of the world's wealth belongs to 1% of the world's population. That is grossly out of balance. Grossly. That is that's okay. With that ego aside, that is out of balance quite a lot. I've said if humanity was able to reduce the fear by, let's say, only a few percent on planet Earth, you'd have so much more money and resources, time, energy for education, for health, for designing things that were life-sustaining, that were good for the planet. I mean, we're still a species that literally plunders the resources of its home because we're too afraid to look elsewhere. And although you can make that shift individually, it is people still relying on fossil fuels. I've got a 0.7 litre turbo car. It hardly uses, it's like, I think it can do almost 60 miles to the gallon. And that's a 2000, it's 15 years old car. 15. It turned 15 on Halloween. Sorry, don't call it it. And you can recycle. And if you're a vegan or vegetarian, obviously that's going to help. I'm not. I was vegan. I was vegetarian for a year in my early 20s, and I was vegan for a short time as well. And my own intuition, my body knew that it was actually my ego that wanted to be that, because a lot of the people that I respected around the world, other people in my life, were that, and I wanted to be that, and it just wasn't a truth for me. My blood type is type O, and I do benefit from eating meat and fish. So I eventually became pescatarian, which is just eating fish, and now I eat chicken. I don't eat much red meat at all. I have eaten some when I'm over here, but my body, I love it. I do love it, and it's part of. I've been asked questions before. How can you be spiritual and eat meat? And I say it's very easy, because I'm being myself. When I wasn't being myself and I was trying to be someone else, which is completely unspiritual, I was further away, and now I feel more truthful to who I am. I remember having a conversation with a spiritual teacher who I met in person, who was a vegetarian, and I said, "Oh, so you eat dairy?" He goes, "Yeah, I love my ice cream." And I said, "Have you ever been to a dairy farm?" Because I have. I had a friend who had an organic dairy farm, and he said, "No." And I said, "Well, you realise that cows only live to 36 years before they get rid of them?" "No, I didn't realise this. So it's not just Daisy over there, and let's just put some suckers on Daisy, and out comes this milk." I don't have milk. I don't have cheese. I am virtually dairy free. I find alternatives. So I have cashew milk, for example. I don't buy cheese. I have had some over here because it's Christmas time and I've enjoyed it. But I won't buy it at home. It's not good for. It's mucus forming. It's no good for me. It's acid forming. I'm better much more with an alkaline diet, but I do benefit from meat. And I had a conversation with my girlfriend who is also a meat eater and eats fish. We were doing this in a restaurant yesterday, and we were going through this sort of topic of conversation. And I said, I do feel that, if meat farming disappeared off the planet, I do feel that I would have my own animals and I would be able to kill them. And it feels a truth for me. And she actually said the same, that was true for her. Anyway, so it's just about being true to yourself. So if anything, I make music because I feel true to myself. It feels real. I love it. And it's the same with every other aspect. Do that, be true to yourself, and you'll do just fine.